Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Kim Manley here tonight. I think I'm doing this every time. Make sure my volume is up. All right, come on in, everybody. We are here. We're live tonight. I'm going to give a few more minutes for everybody to get here. Come on in. I don't know why my reception is weak, but it shouldn't be. Well, my connection is weak. Come on in, everybody. Hopefully I have some more people to come on in. Come on in. Come on in, ladies. Where's everybody? Come on in, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Hey, Cheryl. Glad you could join us tonight. I'm going to wait a little bit for more people to come in. Come on in, ladies. Come on in. Hey, Shalonda. Come on in tonight. I hope everybody's had a good week so far. I have had a really good week. And looking forward to a really great weekend. Come on in. Hopefully we'll get more people coming in. That was a very nice picture you put up, Shalonda, of you and your hubby. I like to see pictures of our husbands and our honey loves, as I call them. Gives us identification of your love and keeps us connected. So I'm glad to see that go up. All right, I'm going to give a couple of more minutes for more people to join in. I've had quite a few people to hit me up and ask me if we were going to be on tonight. And so I want to hold on. My topic for the night is I'm right and you're wrong. I like that. That's my dude. That's right. That's your dude. That's your man. Come on now. That's exactly right. So yeah, we're going to have a very interesting conversation tonight. Our topic, again, as I said before, it's I'm right, you're wrong. And I'm going to talk a little bit just around conflict and give a few pointers on just how we handle conflict. Hey, Charlotte. And how do we handle conflict? Because how many of you know that you will experience conflict in your marriage? Absolutely will experience this. You just know where you can get around it. How you handle it, how you handle conflict when it arises is critical to production and moving forward in your relationship. So while conflict will always have a place, because you're two different individuals, but how do you handle it is what's important. And so we're going to talk about that tonight, and especially the idea of I'm right, you're wrong, because we do that a lot. Hey, Davita, nice to have you. Glad you could join us tonight. All right, well, I believe it's a few minutes after the hour of 9. Yeah, I'm glad to know that, Charlotte. So glad you're here. You're inspiring me that you would even take the time to join me. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. You're a phenomenal woman, and I appreciate you joining tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. One of the things that I wanted to talk about really briefly is the at the onset of tonight the 10-week course. So for some of you all who still have not reached out, I'm going to say please do so. If you are interested, you're thinking about it, you're considering doing the 10-week course. The seats, the spots are getting filled very fast. And I'm very excited about that. Hey, Celeste, welcome. I'm very excited about that. However, I don't want you to miss being in on this first class. If you want to get in on this first class, again, I'm only taking 10 ladies, and I'm going to pour in, and I mean I'm going to pour in on this first class a lot of my stuff, things that I've learned, things that I've grown to obtain over my 24 years, and we're going to cover from one end to the other end and dig deep. And so it's going to be a phenomenal thing. I told you I've found some principles out about in the story of Samson and Delilah. And as I said before, that Delilah is a bad girl. And I'm telling you, there's some things that Delilah did that literally got Samson's heart in her hand and got his power. And where we see Delilah as negative in a sense, she understood who Samson was and she got his heart. And so I'm going to be teaching some of those things from a very positive perspective on how you get the heart of your husband, get the heart of your man. And I'm a firm believer, if you are holding his heart, is far greater than just holding his hand. I think some of you all may have seen that quote that I put out earlier part of the week. So let's jump right in tonight. The topic is I'm right, you're wrong. I'm right, you're wrong. Now, how many of you have either said that out of your mouth, or you've thought that in your mind, or you walked away from your husband, went into another room and mumbled that under your breath? You can give me the thumbs up because I know that we all have done it. I have done that on so many occasions. And why do we do that? We do that because we feel like we know more than our husband, especially in some situations. There are some situations where we do know. There are some situations where we have the better expertise in a particular area. But I'm talking about in just basic conflicts. We conflict over little things. We conflict over, especially newly married couples, conflict over little things. We conflict over how we do things. I remember my husband and I had a big conflict over just how we kept the kitchen clean. He didn't like dishes in the sink, and I didn't like them either, but I didn't like to wash them either. And so conflict over having, hey Ann, hey Nikki, having dishes in the sink. Conflict over keeping the house clean. Certain ways I like the things to be done. Conflict can come in so many different realms, can come in so many different ways, can come in so many different from different angles, depending upon how long you've been single. And how long it was before you married can play a big factor in how you handle conflict. If you're so used to doing things on your own that you didn't need another person, so sitting down and discussing finances can be a huge conflict because I'm so used to paying my bills one way, you pay bills another way. That doesn't work for me. Conflict. If you're so used to having your being able to go and do as you want to, now I'm having to tell you where I'm going and what I'm doing and make a change and adjustment in my way of doing things. That's a conflict. Just trying to get to know one another creates conflict. There's that iron sharpening iron, becoming one, that creates a lot of conflict. Conflict occurs when we are feeling like we're not being valued. There's conflict. There's conflict that comes in when we feel like we're not being appreciated. There's conflict comes in when we feel like our husbands are doing something that's inappropriate that they shouldn't be doing, and we pull it out, or we bring it to their forefront, or we let them know about it. They deny it, act like they don't know it, act like it's not real. Conflict. So conflict is constantly in our relationships. It's always evolving. There are always, especially if you have children, conflict over how one would discipline the children, or conflict over certain areas that have to do with the children. And so conflict is always a part of the relationship. But the key to handling conflict, or key to dealing with conflict, is how do I handle the conflict? How do I deal with issues when they arise? Many times as women, one of the things that we want to do is we either will shut down and don't talk, okay? We will either explode and just keep going on and on and on and on and on, okay? Or we will have very explosive type behaviors. I've seen it on so many different sides. But many times as women, because we don't get our way, we will sometimes shut down, go into quiet mode, and give him the silent treatment. And men are very much aware of what silent treatment looks like, feels like. Or we'll be the nagging wife, where we just keep going on and on and on and on and on over that one particular area. So we have to learn how to deal with conflict. How do I handle it when I'm faced with it? How do I deal with my husband when I don't agree with him? Guess what? Just because you don't agree with your husband on every single item doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means I have a difference of an opinion. I have a different way that I see that. And communicating that clearly to him is what's important. What I often say to my husband is, I don't agree with that. I don't see it from that perspective. However, I'm willing to understand or try to see from your perspective. I may not agree. So is it okay for us to disagree agreeably? In other words, I'm agreeing to disagree with you on this one point, right? What we try to do is force the other person to see it from my perspective. I need you to see what I'm saying. I need you to understand me when it's not necessary understanding. So sometimes we have to learn how to understand what the other person is saying from their perspective, and then take it from our side and say, okay, so this is what I'm saying as it relates to that particular area. So we have to learn how to talk. See, one of the things that we as women do, we want to fuss it out rather than talk it out. There's a difference. Sometimes you have husbands that like to fuss more than a wife. But conflict is very difficult because there are some people who don't like conflict, so they run from it. I'm a very non-confrontational type of person. I do not like conflict. It's uncomfortable for me. It's uncomfortable for me to really tell you how I really feel. Because I feel like if I tell you how I feel, there have been times where I felt like if I told him how I felt, that it would hurt him, that it would rub him the wrong way, that it would bring discord between us. We would no longer be connected. So I would hold in what I really felt for fear. I let fear drive me a lot of the time. And so what did I do? I carried around this uncomfortable feeling. I carried around me now being disconnected. I carried around me now walking away saying I didn't get to tell him what I really feel. And then I would go through these battles in my mind and these conversations with myself, repeating all the things I wanted to say to him that I didn't say to him because I was scared to say it to him. Oh, come on. I know I've got some women on here that have been just in that seat. You can give me some thumbs up, some hearts or something. Come on, talk back to me. But I know that you're here because we all do it. And when we feel like we haven't fully been able to express what we feel, it's like with our girlfriends. We don't have a hard time telling our girlfriends, especially our good girlfriends, just how we feel about something. Our good girlfriends that we built good relationship with, we tell them, girl, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't agree with that. That ain't the way I do it. That's not what I feel. We tell them. But it's when we get in a relationship with our husbands that we feel like we can't do that. Sometimes it could be how they handle us. Could be sometimes it's just that we're just afraid that if we tell them how we really feel, that they won't be able to handle it or accept it and it'll draw a wedge between us. But what really draws the wedge has nothing to do with us telling them what we really feel. It has everything to do with us being unwilling to tell them what we really feel. So we walk away carrying feelings that we have that haven't been fully expressed. So I think it's important, I know it's important, that you know your personality, that you know who you are. You know how you handle conflict, and going in, that you go in saying, listen, I don't like conflict. I don't like it when we argue. I don't like it when we have to be at odds with each other. So this is how I would prefer to handle this situation. I know I can't talk right now. When I'm upset and mad, I can't talk now. I'm going to say something I shouldn't say. I'm going to regret something that I shouldn't have said. This is not my time to talk. I need to cool down. And so you have to communicate to your husband. Conflict is a part of our marriages. Conflict is going to be, as long as you're becoming one, as long as you are working and meshing together as one, you will hit some spots where you don't agree. But I've learned to agree and to disagree agreeably. In other words, I'm going to disagree with you, but I agree that we are not on the same page on this particular item. Doesn't mean I won't get there, but currently I'm not on that page. Give me some time to think it through. Give me some time to think through this particular item. Give me some time to see it from your perspective. I'm seeking to understand you rather than seeking to be understood. Okay, I just gave you a point. I'm seeking to understand you rather than seeking to be understood. That means I'm getting in your shoes for a second. I'm going to put on your 10 and a half, your 11s, or your 12s. And I'm going to walk around in your shoe for a second so I can see if I can understand it from your perspective. Yes, that's right. Get in your husband's shoes for a second. Not literally, but in a figurative speech. I'm understanding from your perspective. I need to see how you see this. So if I'm going to disagree with you, I need to know why I'm disagreeing. I needed to be able to put it on the table and not just say, well, I don't agree with that. Well, why don't you agree with it? Give me reasons why you don't agree with it and have something solid to stand upon. So I'm learning how to see it from your perspective. Now, I'm right, you're wrong. We have to learn how to get out of that. It's a competition. We're not in competition with our husbands. And when we're in conflict, sometimes it comes into a competition. I'm going to prove to you that I'm right. I'm going to have the last word. I'm going to have the last say. So we keep talking, and keep talking, trying to get the last word, the last say. How do you know that the last word and the last say doesn't make it any better than having the first word? It doesn't. It doesn't change anything. It just means you decided that you're going to keep pushing the issue the longest. So who won? So are we on the same team? If we're on the same team, then why do we have to combat each other over every item? Some things, ladies, you just don't have to fight about. I've learned to pick my battles and pick them wisely. I've learned which battles are necessary for me to go into conflict or at least have a conversation around. My husband can say anything at this point, and there's some things I'm just like, you know what? That's not even worth me even picking up. And because I'm not going to pick it up, doesn't mean I'm ignoring him. It just simply says, you know what? I'm going to choose to just let you have that one today. That's good. Okay. Take that one, and that's okay. I'm going to let it go today because that's not really a battle for me to pick and choose on today. I'm not going to choose that one. I don't have to prove that I'm right. And I think that's what we fall into sometimes, ladies. I got to be right. Surely I can't be wrong because I have all the answers. And if you just listen to me, I have all the answers. That's what we say a lot of times. I got the answers. Now, if you just listen to me, you'll get the answers. But how do you know? We don't have all the answers. And every way we think is right doesn't necessarily mean it is right. And so when we got caught up in the idea that I'm right and you're wrong, then now we're trying to prove to them that we got a better way of doing a thing. And it's not necessary that it's better. I'm going to give you something that I have conflict with. And I think I talked about this early on. Um, One of the things is I have is I'm a very timely person. I like to be on time to stuff. My husband is a little less timely. I'll fix it really nice. A little less timely. Um, uh, um, he is one, his whole family, and he knows this. This is not something I'm saying that he didn't know about, but his family is more of if we're preparing for of something that's going to happen at 2 o'clock, it might not necessarily go on or happen until 4. You just know it's just not going to happen. So they kind of move a little slower than us. If I know there's somewhere I want to go and I got to be there on time, I don't even get into the conflict of riding in the passenger side trying to drive the car. Y'all heard me. I'm not even going to go through the conflict of riding in the passenger side trying to drive the car. Because now I'm frustrated because you're driving slow and I'm ready to get somewhere because we always late somewhere. So what do? If I know I want to be somewhere, I will go ahead and say, honey, I'll drive. That way, I've already squashed this conflict. It doesn't have to happen. I'm going to drive. He's sitting on the passenger side. So if we get there late, it's my fault because I'm driving. But I've squashed that. See, some things, ladies, you got to learn how to squash it before it gets started. You have to learn how to not push conflict when it's unnecessary. You don't have to debate every thought. You don't have to debate everything he's saying. He say the sky's blue, you say, it's green. He says the sky has got, clouds are in the sky. You come back and say, where? I don't see those. See, don't debate everything. Everything doesn't have to be about a fight. Some things you don't have to fight over. Some things you can say, you know what? It's not even that important. You're right. Go ahead and do it. That doesn't mean you're less, doesn't mean you're taken down. It just means you have decided this is not a fight for me today. I know my limitations. And that's what's wrong sometimes, ladies. We don't understand our limitations. So then we get out there and before we know it, a little small conflict has ended up being a huge argument that has gone way too far. And we don't even remember why we were arguing. We don't remember the beginning of the argument. We don't even know where the root of it started. So, you don't have to be right. You can be wrong. And how many of you know that there are a lot more times that we are wrong than we are right? But we don't like to admit to that. So own up to your own stuff. Own up to where you are. Own up to where you have been. Own up to what you say out your mouth that not necessarily needed to be said. It's like squeezing the toothpaste out of the toothpaste out. You can't put that toothpaste back in that tube once you squeeze it out. If you can, show me. So it's the stuff that rolls out of our mouth that we regret later, that we have to go back and apologize for. And sometimes, that's a point. We don't apologize for stuff we said when we shouldn't have said it. No, I'm not saying say, I'm sorry. Not I'm sorry. I apologize. Forgive me for saying X, Y, and Z. That's a whole nother level of release on your part to say, I was wrong. It's easy to say, oh, I'm sorry. Well, what does I'm sorry really mean? What does I'm sorry really mean? But when I take it all to another level and say, I apologize for saying X, Y, and Z to you. I apologize for saying such and such. Because you know and I know, we always say to people, well, what you sorry for? We roll our neck. We waiting on them to give us an answer, what they sorry for. Yeah, I know you sorry. Yeah, you sorry. And we give them that kind of response. But when somebody says, I apologize for, and give you the reasons why they're apologizing to you, it gives you an opportunity to accept what they're saying and realize that they have recognized where they were wrong. So when I say I apologize for X, Y, and Z, please forgive me. Now I'm recognizing my own error, my own place of being wrong, giving that person to know that I acknowledge my error. That's what we don't like to do. And so I'm giving you a few points tonight. And I want you to consider you. I want you to consider how you handle your husband. Are you putting your hand on your hip? Is your neck rolling? Are you raising your voice? Are you talking loud? Are you screaming? Where are you? Just because he may be talking loud doesn't mean you have to elevate your voice to follow. You decide. See, what we don't like to say is that nobody can make you do anything. We do what we want to do. I stopped saying a long time ago, well, you made me scream at you because you screamed at me. No, I decided to scream back. Yeah, that's what we do. So, ladies, what I'm saying to you is you don't have to be right. It's okay to be wrong. And being wrong sometimes just simply says, I acknowledge the fact that I don't have all the answers. And because I don't have all the answers, then I'm gonna yield and allow you to be the head and the husband of this house. I'm just talking, ladies. I hope you're getting something. I'm talking because these are things I fell into. I fell into this in my marriage. Even now, I'm a very strong-willed person. I'm very strong. I can admit I'm pretty strong. I can admit that I'm real forthright. I can admit that I do have a lot of expertise. I can admit that. But I have to make sure that my expertise doesn't override his ability to be the head of my household. When I walk in my house, I'm wife. He's husband. He's covering. I'm submitted. Whatever I am on my job, when I walk in my house, what's on my job stays in my job. So if I'm manager, supervisor, director, whatever, when I walk in my house, I'm submitted wife in his house. Why? Because I understand the role that he carries. Conflict comes when we try to execute or exercise our role that we are on our jobs when we come in our house. And you got to realize you are a wife. And what he wants is a wife who supports, a wife who will back him. Not a wife who's going to combat every single thing he says. Not a wife that's going to come at him with everything he says and you wrong, you don't know what you're talking about, you dumb and you stupid. No. Understand your role and understand your place. I'm not saying being a doormat. I'm not saying being walked over. But what I am saying is to have the best marriage you can have, you need to understand when you walk in the door who you are and where your role. No, I ain't saying you're supposed to be the one cooking, cleaning, doing all the housework. No. But I am saying I don't carry my roles in from outside the house into my house. Because I want my husband to be strong and cover my house. I want him to have the role of being leader. So when there's conflict, he asks me something, Kim, what do you think about so and so? I'll say, well, honey, this is my perspective of. This is my thoughts. This is what I think of it. I don't necessarily agree with what you're saying you want to do, but this is what I say. So here's we go. This is what you do. Then he says, okay, well, I got your perspective. I'm going to think about it. I will consider it. And I just simply say, all right. At the end of the day, I'm not the head of the house. I'm the wife. I stand beside you. I stand beside you to support you and to love you and to be the holder of your heart. So when it's all said and done, you know I'm going to be here to cheer you to the end, that we're going in the same direction. Hopefully I've given you something that you got from tonight. I hope you guys grabbed something. Okay, so as I said, my 10-week course is coming up. It's going to start December the 5th. I would hope that some of you all would get into that course. I'm going to go even deeper on things like this. I'm giving you little snippets of things that I'm going to teach in my course all the way through, but in more detail. I'm going to take everything that I can possibly pour into this first group. I'm taking 10 ladies. Again, the group is going to start December the 5th. It's going to run for 10 weeks. If you want to be a part of that group, I'm going to encourage you to private message me. that you want to be a part of it so we can discuss and talk about the details. I'm going to talk about some things from the back to the basics, to intimacy, to forgiveness, to your self-esteem, to all your emotional state, to how all this plays and how well we execute and we operate and we love our husbands. And so at the end of the day, you will be a better woman. At the end of the day, you will be a better woman for it. So if you're interested in being a part of that, please make sure you private message me so we can get together. The slots are filling up very fast. I'm going to take 10 women on this first go round. I want to teach you how to become his secret obsession. You're never going to be the same. Your marriages will never be the same. I appreciate, and I've got some principles I'm telling you I'm going to share from the story of Samson and Delilah. Samson and Delilah was a bad girl, I'm telling you. She understood how to get the heart of Samson. At the end of the day, while we look at her from a very negative perspective, but this woman understood how to get the heart of Samson. And so I'm going to share some principles, some things that I've seen in just that story alone that gets us holding his heart and not just his hand. So if you want to be a part of that, please make sure that you reach out so we can get you signed up and get you rolled into that course. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fulfilling. It's going to give you all the things that you need to have a great and successful marriage. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate you joining me on tonight. I hope I gave you something that you can take away, understanding that I'm not right all the time. I can be wrong. Conflict is not bad. Conflict is actually a good thing. But at the end of the day, it just helps you to show you where you are, how you handle things, and how to manage those areas. All right? So love you guys. Appreciate you. Hope to see you in the group on next week. We're going into the weekend. I will be in the group on Monday for a very short period of time. We're going to be going into Thanksgiving, so I probably won't do anything else more for the week of next week. But Monday, I'll be there at 9 o'clock. I do hope some of you all will join us here. If there's any topics, anything I haven't covered that you want me to kind of cover, please make sure that you send me a message as well. Put me some feedback in. Let me know how things are going, what you think about some of the things. Let me know some testimonies. If you've tried any of the things that I've suggested, if things are happening well for you, you see some changes in your husband, let me know those things. Those things kind of help me, encourage me to know where I need to continue in sharing. Okay? I know that you're out there. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Keep sharing this information and asking and getting ladies to join up to our group. We're going to continue. This is going to be a great group as we turn the corner and go into 2017. I promise you, you'll never regret these days of being a part of Married Let's Play. Love you, ladies. We'll talk to you real soon. Take care.